And here we are for round one. Yes, I'd like to play first. This is close to being good. Oh, we've at least got some interaction, and turning on a looters makes me pretty happy. I'm going to keep it. This is not great. The main thing that has me excited is we've got the Burning Vengeance in hand, which is kind of the whole point of the deck. And I don't mind firing off Firebolts and Flame Jabs to kill my opponent. We'd really like to be able to hit an island or at least another mana. We should draw lands, right? We put them in the deck. That's kind of why I put them in the deck, was so that we could draw them. So, and Mana War is a pretty good card against anybody that's playing Abundant Growth. Well, I won't say it's always a good card against anybody. I will say that this tends to make me think they're going to be playing enchantments, which we're super happy to be able to bounce. Mishra's Factory can be a bit of a problem, but that's what the Carbonize is for. I think that's why I mentioned liking Flame Jab, is like, I don't really need to care about this right now. It's not going to interact favorably with us, but I want this in the graveyard anyway, so let's just kill the Plague Witch and move along with our life. If we're going to get hit by 2 for a Mishra's Factory, this kind of helps us make up for the fact that we got mana screwed. Mana screwed. I mean, we're just missing a land drop. It's not the end of the world. Shardless Agent's a little bit of a problem, just because it comes with a friend. It's a friend we can pretty easily deal with. Again, recognize that's an X1. So Flame Jab kind of does a lot of work against that. We're pretty far away from being able to cast that counterspell. I think what we need to do is Firebolt the Shardless Agent, which seems silly because the Thornwheeled Archer looks like a better creature on the surface. But I certainly don't want to bounce the Shardless Agent. And one way we get back into this is by hitting an island, playing a Mana War, and then starting to catch up, and then, you know, drawing a couple lands, get Burning Vengeance going, and that sort of thing. So I think we're actually going to take out the Shardless Agent and not be super thrilled about it, but I mean, that's what we got to do here, and then move along with our life. Ideally, we'll hit a land pocket here and be just fine. Apparently Sultai Elves Factory enchantments, which is fine. Yep, it's an elf deck. Alright, we're going to need some action. That is actually not the droid we were looking for. But that's alright. This is why I usually play 3 lands in most of my decks. Just, you know, because drawing 2 of them is not often enough. Believe it or not, we can still catch up from a lot of this. But I think we kind of have to hit next turn. Because getting Burning Vengeance in play and then drawing just a string of lands is almost enough to do it. Mana War is not a bad start. So I can play the Burning Vengeance, then we take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that doesn't give me enough interactivity to stop most of this. Whereas if I play the Mana War, I can maybe trade it off for one of these. Now, like, if they have a removal spell, are we dead? Yeah, we're very dead. But if I just bounce the token, that's some value. It should hold this back. Like, if they swing team, we trade with that, I guess, and then take 5, 6, 7. Which is pretty damn close to dead. But I ain't gonna give up. They could have lands in hand. It's a question of whether I want to bounce the Hunter or not. If I bounce the Hunter currently, they can't attack with the Mishra's Factory if they want to replay it. That may actually buy me more time than bouncing a token. Because we don't see any other comes into play elf abilities currently. And 11 is a long way away from 0. Oh, they can attack with the factory now, but... Alright, they're just going here. I think that means I'm supposed to eat the token and take the 4. Like, I can take 3 or I can take 4, and if I take 4 this turn, then I can prevent 2 next turn. That's math. Okay, or they have Sylvan Might and we're just dead, but... Or they don't want to flash it back. I guess they want to cast the other guy. That works. I think that leaves us more or less dead. Because we're at 6. We'd have to deal with this and both of those. And I don't think I can do that just with the amount of mana that we've had. I could play the Burning Vengeance and retrace the Flame Jab. Like, we're very close to being able to kill 2 of these. But that was just mana screw. So I think it's actually better to scoop here and let that go. Like, we're on turn 7 and we just drew our 4th land. That's not going to work out very often. I'm actually not super interested in a counterspell here. It looks like it would be good to counter combat tricks, but it's kind of not. I think I'm more interested in another turtle. It's a great answer to those archers. Tidal Wave's a good removal spell here too, so I may want to try to find room for that. Now, I've got Glacial Walls. Like, we've got cards that stack up pretty damn well against what they're doing. I just have to draw them. And, you know, mana to cast them. I'm good with this. Would you like to play first? I sure would. This looks better. This looks quite better. It has lands and spells. We will keep. Yes, we will keep. Right, Dutch? Alright. So lead with the Mountain, as... I guess it doesn't super matter. But I feel so confident with the Glacial Wall in hand. It doesn't have the Burning Vengeance, which is what the other deck had going for it, but... I mean, you live, you learn. I think you always bolt the bird. Like, there's a chance they kept their hand based on the idea that Llanowar Elf is so good, and if we can mana screw our opponent, it just buys us a lot more time to get things going. Oh yeah, we've got some news for you, buddy. I'm just going to run out the wall here pretty happily. Because bounce is so good against that guy. And we could just bounce it for days. Like, it's going to take them a long time to get Elvis Vanguard able to get through this. And once they have, we just bounce it and it's over. That sounds good. I think I'm going to start with looting, as I really don't mind putting Desperate Ravings in the graveyard. I do want to cast the giant turtle this turn to block the archer, but we can start here. And basically, I just want to get as many flashback cards in the graveyard as I can. So like it's basically free to discard the Ravings and the Grace. I do want to hit a few more land drops so that we can like flashback Firebolt and that sort of thing. I'd prefer that they be islands. But like, these cards are just as good in the graveyard as they are in my hand. And right now our opponent's in no position to attack through us. I really wish I had more Faithless Lootings and some deep analyses. Yeah, Dutch, me too. We're a couple cards off from the perfect deck, but it's still not a bad version. So now they're finally at the point where they can start to shrink our guys. And we can just buy so much time with a Silent Departure or a Mana War. This is what the turtle is for. It is so happy to jump in front of an archer and die. Remember, another way that we're planning to kill our opponent is by doing the thing with the stuff. Flyers. Target creature gets -X, where X is the number of elves you control. So, like, a pretty good turn is just flashing back Firebolt and making sure that's done. I think an even better turn is flashing back the Faithless Looting and then just bouncing it with the Silent Departure. We can always do that later. No, I think I'm supposed to kill it. I think I'm just supposed to kill it. Because the longer I make them wait to get this Elvish Vanguard relevant, the better it is for me. And I don't really want all these mountains, but like, now I can turn extra lands into cards, or like, every land we draw is a card if we want it. And this guy just doesn't do anything. Like, the elf is the thing that could be scary. Like, they attack, they have a pump spell, they do things and stuff, all of a sudden we're scared, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Or we could just draw Burning Vengeance and life could be great. It could be so good. Yeah, I think I want to do that. Blink. Bloop. Life is so good when you got this going on. How good? We're going to find out. We got to deal 22 points of damage to him with it. I don't think that's going to be hard. Alright. You did make an elf token and an Elvis Visionary. I might have played those the other way around, but then what do I know? Giant turtle. It's eternal. I think I'm supposed to start killing them. That could be crazy, but like, my creatures are going to handle all of this stuff on the ground. And I've got more flashback to deal with more stuff later. I actually kind of don't want the looter. That feels weird, but I can discard the looter in the mountain and play the turtle and be fine. I really just want to hit that land pocket again, but so we can get Una's Grace going. But we got good blocks here, and I do want to keep the Manowar around. I probably should have just killed that damn Elvish Visionary, but I'm figuring they're probably going to play some more elves. We bounce it. Then it just makes more tokens. Yeah, I should have just killed that thing. That was greedy. Like, them being at 22 is not relevant. Because they're just going to get a whole horde of elves and play a Timberwatch elf and kill me with it. Yeah, and Roots is something that could stop that. I might have stopped the Glacial Wall, I guess, but sure. Yeah, I need to start killing their dudes now, don't I? So I can bounce the token, burn that, and be a little bit safer. And then save the mountain to discard to Una's Grace later. I can, I could just play the land, play the Manowar. But I need to do something with blue mana this turn. It feels like just bouncing that and getting rid of the Visionary is just a good line here. And I'm going to hold the land to use with retrace spells. Like, we're short on blue mana here. And that's what I really should be doing with this deck, is just establishing board control. Carbonize wouldn't be a bad draw. There's that Shardless Agent again with a Llanowar Elf. Okay, good news is they're out of cards. Bad news is they've kind of got a swarm of crap. The other good news is Firebolt handles basically everything they have in play. Except for this, which I can already block. So I can Firebolt and flash it back and kill 4 things. I kind of don't want to kill that. So I guess I take out 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I could just suck it up and discard the Llanowar, but this is how we get into this game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, if I'm going to spew off Firebolts, this is the turn to do it. Well, it doesn't kill 4 things. It kills 3 things. That's enough for me. We may still not be answering their stuff fast enough, but they've got to draw lands at some point instead of elves, right? Or not. Okay, they've got a Sylvan Might in the graveyard. I need to be able to remember that. That basically does +2/+2 and trample, so we're taking 5, 6, 7 here. We're in a little bit of trouble. Again, I think due to not drawing blue. Like, we've got a line where we could draw or bounce our Tortoise and replay it, but we're just not able to do that right now. This is good. It gets us another blocker. So we block, we trade. If I play the Manowar, I can't play any other cards. We could desperately rave. That sounds like something you'd do at a dance party. So they've got Sylvan Might. That's going to happen. So we're going to block. We're going to block. If I play the Manowar and bounce a token, we block there. They keep they keep this alive and get through that. So what does Desperate Ravings do for me? It basically takes out a Thorn-Wheeled Archer and gives me a chance to draw a Carbonize. I think the Manowar's a safer play, in that it's definitely getting 3 damage off the board, whereas the Desperate Ravings may only get 2. But I think this has a better shot at being good, like actually being able to win the game good. Because I could hit exactly that. Island, Manowar. And this leaves them with basically a bunch of 1/1s. And they'll have to use Sylvan Might. Again, we could just fully answer a token, but I just want to not die for a little bit. This is a great turn for us to try to kill that Deadbridge Shaman because we're not going to discard any cards. I think I may have valued getting that I may not have valued getting that dead enough. Think about how much higher our life total would be if I had just killed their creatures earlier. I mean, I don't see any reason to do anything here because I may be able to bait them into... I mean, Una's Grace is an instant, so I may be able to bait them into an attack and using a pump spell and then using the Una's Grace to to get them. Like, we can instant speed Burning Vengeance now. That's got to be good. So I think the blocks are here, here, and here. And then we'll kill whatever they use the Sylvan Might on. Which I think is going to be this. I'm not going to do it there? Okay. We can keep doing it if we want to mow down some other things. I kind of don't see a reason not to. Like, it could hit one of our flyers, but like exactly that, which would kind of suck because we'll have to discard it to the Deadbridge Shaman, but it leaves us with a pretty good board state. Alright, finally we drew something that can kill this idiot, and I'm just going to do it now. Do it now! No more elves. I'm sick of your elves. Alright. Let's get this Pilgrim's Eye out of the way so we can start attacking. Can't do that this turn, but we can next turn. This is a slow way to win. But it is a way to win. I'd like to have the Una's Grace up if we need it, so I'm just going to cast this first, untap, and then have it up. I can't think of many reasons I would want to do that mid-combat, but it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Okay. Why not make sure there's no elves in play? Oh, that's a sorcery. Right. I'm going to go ahead and play the Glacial Wall. With the idea that they could easily be splashing for a Bloodbraid Elf and hit another haste creature. Like, I realize it's pretty unlikely, but I also want to keep all the elves off the board because they might have a Shaman of the Pack, and I don't want to deal with that. Alright, so there's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 we can hit for this turn, and then if we draw a land, they're just dead next turn. I think I'm alright with that. Like, there's an argument to keep it at a multiple of 2 and just draw the card. Because if I rip off lands in a row, we just kill them. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'll hold that one up. Well, we may as well flame jab them. There's no reason not to do that. And I think this gets me around everything, because even if they have an X2 haste creature, I can burn it. I can kill a Shaman of the Pack with the trigger on the stack. And then should be able to just untap and kill them. Or we don't even have to. Alright, so all the elves. We can beat this. We can beat this. It's basically, can you stabilize fast enough, Travis? If you can, good. If not, then no, you cannot beat it. Tidal Wave seems good. Sting Scourger seems good when we're going on the draw. I may not need both Una's Graces. Tidal Wave looks like a great way to nab one of those 3/3s that makes more 3/3s, and I definitely want that dead. I think I can cut a kill condition for a removal spell. I don't love Tidal Wave. It's not great, but I think it's just the kind of thing I can do against this opponent that might be worthwhile. Because we actually have a problem with 3/3s. Anything else we can deal with, but 3/3s are a problem because this is Firebolt, not Lightning Bolt. Apparently Lightning hurts a lot more than Fire. Well, this hand is basically, can you kill a Merfolk Looter? I kind of don't think they can. We're scared to death of a Plagued Witch. Anything else is fine, though. And I guess even if they have it, we could wait till we draw a removal spell to play the Looter, but I'm kind of like Merfolk Looter with one activation is pretty hot. And Firebolt just says, don't you worry. It's like a fairy godmother sitting on your shoulder saying, Travis, you go ahead and screw up, man. I got your back. I got yo back. I want to get looting as fast as I can, and I can take the first two. God, if they miss a play here... They're not going to miss a play. Okay. So we've got options. It starts with let's get our loot on. It's probably more mountains than we need. So Firebolt is a good answer to both of these eventually. I'm trying to decide if I'm worried about taking two from this, or if I'm worried about them ramping into something with the Llanowar Elf. I think anything that they ramp into with the Llanowar Elf is probably going to be covered by Glacial Wall. So I'm actually going to take out Home Slice here and pretend like we have a counter spell up. We don't, that sucks. But they may be a little nervous about playing something. And I don't mind making them think I have a counter spell in the deck when I don't. But like most of the 5-drops I can think of, Glacial Wall blocks, and if they're just going to attack for one with the Llanowar Elf, that's phenomenal. Okay. So they're going to take out our looter, potentially, after we've... and they're, I think, holding up... They're holding up Sylvan Might. Isn't that cute? Duck, 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 Vaden, din, din, duck, Vaden, din, din, duck, Vaden, din, din. He doesn't actually do a whole lot here, though, but I mean, he'll let us flip through our deck and eventually get something. So I can Firebolt that next turn. They're going to get to trade, kill my Merfolk Looter, but they paid 3 mana for a 1/1. In order to do it. I think we're easily going to Glacial Wall here and pass. With any luck, they play an artifact that they haven't shown us in the last couple games, and we're able to just snag it. It's like they take out one looter, we'll just get another one. Attacking is great. I would love for you to do that. Alright. This means they're probably on the counter your firebolt with Sylvan Might plan, which is not a bad plan. I probably still have to make them do it, but let's see if we can find something here. I mean, I guess I'd rather have a duel than not. So I can DAC and do some more looting, or I can just get the firebolt, the Sylvan Might out of their hand. So let's start there. They've got a counterspell for this. That's fine. It means we may be able to get something with the tidal wave. And at least they're using a combat trick that gives trample defensively. That guy's a pain in the arse. With it tapped out, though, we've got a real chance at getting it. Glacial Wall's not actually bad here. I could go DAC into Glacial Wall, and I think be pretty happy. Or DAC into Tidal Wave, may at least get an elf off the board. Let's try that. So I don't need all of these lands, so we can ditch 2 lands. And then try to get a tidal wave out of this. He can pump it and use the Sylvan Might, but that's going to eat up his turn. He's probably going after DAC. If we get DAC to 6, we can start stealing his guys. And if he's lazy and just swings team at DAC, it's even better. So basically we're using DAC to soak a lot of damage here. I guess we're using the tidal wave to soak a lot of damage, but you get my point. Now he's kind of obligated to pump this and use the Sylvan Might, which will deal 1 damage to DAC. And it again leaves him tapped out, exceptionally vulnerable to like another Firebolt, Flame Jab, you name it, it's good to draw here. I don't mind discarding that. But if we're going to loot, let's start with looting 2. I don't need the land. And Tortoise really isn't doing much for me right here. I think I'm happy discarding the Tortoise and the Ravings. And then just looting again, because the Ravings is almost better in the graveyard. Shoreline Rager is fine. It doesn't really block, which is something I want to do. So I think I'm now going to discard the land, play the Drake, untap the lands, and then play the other Glacial Wall. Like if we're willing to let DAC die, I could just get a bunch of flyers down and try to race. But I think this gives them too much to deal with, because they're still going to be attacking DAC. We can desperately Rave end of turn. I'd still like to keep that in case we draw the thing that does the stuff. That had to be a sideboard card for me. It seems like a really interesting choice for a sideboard card. He really doesn't have much reason to attack now, which is going to make this harder and harder to deal with. Yeah, I'm going to have to risk this. I don't want to discard the Shoreline Rager, but if that happens, it happens. Well, discarding Burning Vengeance is almost worse. Also got to be careful about burning ourselves out of cards. That can happen here. But don't have to worry about it now. I think... Well, I want Dak... I'd like to get him to 6, right? I've got this on flashback. We're attacking for 2. Let's start there. I've got to loot up if I want it. So the question is, do I play the Mana War to protect Dak? Or do I just play the Shoreline Rager and try to kill him? Time is a factor. Library is a bit of a factor. I kind of probably should have kept the Silent Departure so I could have played that and the Shoreline Rager in the same turn. Because if I play the Rager, he's going to attack with everything and Dak dies. That does mean I'll be attacking for 5 a turn while that's happening. Let's loot first and then try to make a decision. Because if I get a removal spell for the Timberwatch Elf, I may just want to bounce it. Okay, there's a Flame Jab. That's actually pretty good for us. Which I think means I want to bounce the Timberwatch Elf and then kill the Scarblade this turn. As that just means Dak is very defended. And then I can use the Flame Jab to just start stealing stuff. It's like they can sack this to the Carrion Feeder while I have a Silent Departure at the ready. And then if they don't take out Dak next turn, we basically get to... well, I guess they've got 2 turn cycles to get rid of Dak. But I think we can prevent that from happening, and I don't think we're going to draw out our library. Alright, let's go for one more loot here. I can't envision not playing the Shoreline Rager this turn. And I'm not going to loot with the Merfolk Looter anymore. It's better as a blocker to keep Dak alive for a turn. I think Sylvan Might is one of the few things that gets them out of us ultimating Dak. And if they can't handle that, we can basically use Flame Jab to just start stealing their dudes. If I had more than 8 cards in the library, I would want to keep looting. But basically all I want to draw now is land, so it's kind of okay. So let's Flame Jab you first. I'm not actually looking to get any of their cards. I just want their board gone. So they can sack this in response. Dak Faden is colorless. And also remarkably handsome. That's why I steal everything. This puts him in a position where he has to sacrifice the carrion feeder first. I can just steal this guy. He pumps it, I get to keep it. He doesn't pump it, it dies. Like, this things are looking pretty good for Team Sowers. That's all I'm saying. All right, that happens. Boink. It's mine. It's dead, but it's still mine. We got to get this damage in fast because I'm starting to run out of time and he doesn't really have good blocks. Like, once his board's gone, this is also lethal next turn. And, like, lands let us steal the creature. Silent Departure lets us bounce it. I mean, may as well play efficiently, right? Even if time's a factor, you should still do the right thing. Boink. Dag Faden is colorless. All right, there's round one. See you for round two in just a minute.